Today we will talk about sprint. Sprint is considered to be heartbeat of Scrum. Now consider a situation where I will tell you to stop your heartbeat for a moment. Will you survive? No, right? That's what happens. As soon as one sprint ends, the other has to start. For a heartbeat, it is also important that it has to stay at an optimal level. So, for example, if the normal heartbeat for you is 72 beats per minute, it can go up till 100. But if you go much beyond it, say 200, it could be fatal. And the same happens in case of a sprint as well. So a duration is already being provided by Scrum Guide. So Scrum Guide recommend that a sprint should be 1 month or less. Now consider that you have decided a 3 month sprint. What will happen? In that 3 month, it might be possible that you are over flooded with lot of changes. And consider a situation where your sprint is too short, maybe a week. In those situations, when it is too short, you will have too much administrative work to do because you have to do sprint planning, you have to do review, you have to do retrospective, you have to do daily planning, which is not possible. So that's what is mentioned here. The first is it's a heartbeat of Scrum. Second, it is of fixed length of 1 month or less to create consistency. Now, suppose if you have just started, you established a Scrum team and you wanted a sprint to be established. In those situations, just pick whatever you feel the best. Suppose in my project, I picked 2 week sprint. After executing it for 2 or 3 times, we identified that 2 weeks is too short for us and we are not able to integrate the other systems in those 2 weeks. So we expanded our duration to 3 weeks, and now for last few years it is working pretty well. But at the same time, we should not try to change this duration too often. It is always recommended to change this duration of sprint only at the beginning or very infrequently if it is at all required, but not frequently. The third point, as I already mentioned, the sprint horizon should not be too long because then your goals may be invalid, and it should not be too short that you generate more learning cycle. The same goes with heartbeat. The new sprint should start immediately after the conclusion of the previous sprint. And the last point, sprint act as a container for all other events, which means you have a duration, say, of 3 weeks. In that 3 week, you need to do sprint planning, daily Scrum, review, and retrospective. Now let's see what all features that you would need in a sprint. So in a sprint, you should try to see that you don't make changes that may endanger your sprint goals. So for example, in one of our sprint, we have taken a sprint goal as two-way authentication should be implemented in our application, which means user should enter his or her password and then he or she should get an OTP on his mobile, and matching these two, he or she should be able to log in. During the course of 1.5 weeks, you get a new requirement that it should not be two-way but three-way authentication. In those situations, you should ensure that your sprint goal is not endangered. In those situations, you should safeguard your team, and it's then the responsibility of Scrum Master to safeguard the team from all these external requirements, and also the developers and the product owner should help. Second, the quality should not decrease. This means that at times the team wanted to impress their management, at times they want to deliver more, and in that heat of the moment they decrease the quality of the solution or the product they are implementing. And what Scrum suggests is the team should ensure that the quality does not decrease during every single sprint. Next, the product backlog is refined as needed. So it's the responsibility of product owner to keep refining the product backlog during the sprint. So every sprint, he or she should refine the product in order to be available for the next sprint to be picked up. As we have talked, product backlog items are nothing but list of features that a product owner wanted in his or her product. The scope may be clarified and renegotiated with PO. So it may be possible that your team has initially estimated a specific task, but over the course of the week during the sprint, they have understood that this is too difficult to be delivered in this specific sprint. And in those situations, scope can be renegotiated and clarified with PO. So this means that sprint, what we discussed and agreed during sprint planning is not carved in stone. The last point, if your sprint goal become obsolete, a sprint need to be cancelled or it can be cancelled. I give you an example. The day when Russia has declared a war on Ukraine, in the next following days, European Union has declared sanctions on Russia. That means all the payments that goes to Russia and that comes from Russia need to be stopped. Now, if I am from an IT division that make payment processing engines, I need to make all the adjustment straight away, drop all my sprint items straight away, because then I'm abiding by law of the nation, or else I am not. And in all those situations, my existing sprint goals, which I have just decided with my team before this war was declared or before this sanction was declared, became obsolete. So when this sprint goal become obsolete, then the product owner, developer, and Scrum Master can come together and cancel the sprint. So in summary, sprint is the heartbeat of Scrum. As soon as one sprint ends, other should start. It should be 1 month or less. Optimal size should be chosen so that you don't waste too much time when you have too long, or if you have too short, then you end up having too much learning cycle. You should ensure that the quality does not decrease during the sprint. Nothing should be done that endangers sprint goals. And if it become obsolete, the sprint goal become obsolete, then sprint can be cancelled. With this, now let's move to the next event, and that is sprint planning.